Alright, what's up guys? As I said in my last video, this video is going to be about Buffball. Why is it so broken? What is it if you don't even know? And what needs to be done about it. Because unless you are not a frequent player, you don't watch much, and you just kind of play casually, you know that Buffball is insanely OP. It is dominating the meta, and it has dominated the meta for a long time. And just to start off, what is Buffball? It is a combination of four characters generally, which is Barbarian, Cleric, Bard, and Wizard. Pretty much it's Barbarian, Cleric, and then plus either Wizard or Bard. It's usually one of those two characters. And that is the most OP form of it. There are more that you could play with, like a fighter instead of Barb, or Rogue instead of Barb, or anything. However, this is the form that causes the issues in the game right now, and it's the really OP one that everyone complains about, me included. So, why is it so OP? I guess is where I'll start. Well, if you've never played against it and you don't know, the reason it's super OP is because basically the comp has no weaknesses. It only has strengths. You have three characters, because when I says we're gonna talk about Cleric, Wizard, and Barbarian. We're talking about the combination of those three characters, because in my mind, those are the three strongest right now in the comp. You could play Bard, but it's nowhere near as strong as Wizard. So the comp basically has no weaknesses. Now, in this current patch, even more so than before. So, why is that? How does it have no weaknesses? Well, the only thing that counters Barbarian effectively is either range damage that can kite them, CC them, kill them, or something that is able to tank their physical damage. Well, let's look at things that can tank their physical damage. Fighter would be the most prevalent one. Hell, even the frontline Cleric. But usually something in heavy plate armor with a lot of physical damage reduction. Well, why can't they? Well, if you look right here at Warmaw, here's your reason. 20% armor pen while having incredibly high damage. This right here alone makes it so basically no character in the game can tank Barbarian, because you are penetrating their armor and you're hitting really, really hard with very, very low damage numbers, or with very, very low damage, like damage rolls. Like, basically you need none. You just need strength, and you do insane amounts of damage. And so this right here makes it so basically nothing can tank Barbarian. And then you also have something like Reckless Strike right here, which one hit ignores 75% of your enemy's defense, which is incredibly strong. If you use this, you can one-tap fighters or clerics if they have low HP, and you get like a headshot on them, because you're pretty much hitting them for the same amount of damage you'd hit like a ranger or a rogue that's in like a light armor class. So that makes it so basically no one can tank Barbarian's damage. Not to mention that if Warmaw hits you, it has a 40% slow for 1.5 seconds. So you can't, you can't run away from them once you get hit. If you get hit once, they're basically going to walk you down and kill you. There's no other thing to do about that. Shields don't reliably block it. There is some block tech you can do. Hilt blocking is one example. And there is new block tech, but it's a lot less consistent. Because one thing is you actually have to, they actually have to hit your shield, and if they're a smart player, they're going to aim either for your legs or they're going to jump above your shield. It's very easy to get around shields, is, the point I'm trying to make here. So there's basically no one that can tank your damage, and then we move on to the next one. Oh, well, what about somebody that can kill Barbarian? Well, they just removed all the weapon damage from the game for the most part, and lowered damage overall. However, Barbarians are still able to hit 200 HP and 45-50% physical damage reduction, but all the weapon damage is just removed. So there's no one that can kill them anymore, because before, the best way to deal with Barbarian and Buffball was Ranger Cleric, and you catch them in an Earthquake, and then Ranger could shoot them and kill them. Well, that doesn't work anymore, because there's no damage. Like, if they don't do enough to threaten you, your Cleric can just heal you through it. Even if you're caught in an Earthquake, you can just stand there and have your Cleric heal you, and you're fine. And you run through after and kill them. So it's like, so what do we do about it? Well, that's the thing. You can't. There's the only thing that should beat Buffball in the current meta is another Buffball team that either plays better or is more geared. Because that's what this comp really comes down to, is they don't even require that much gear, and they kind of just roll over people that are more geared than them, that are playing different comps, because that is just how oppressive it is. Barbarian has some incredibly OP perks, if we look at Barbarian's perks, 10% more HP on top of a giant HP pool already, insane. free 60 magic resistance and knockback immunity. Knockback immunity isn't as important, but free MR, always nice. Crush, which means we're able to break guards better, which for Warmaul doesn't matter as much. Warmaul already has the highest impact power that beats everything except the Pavise, but no one runs Pavise because it's not good. But you can break down doors, you can chase people. Then you have something like Savage, or not, sorry, excuse me, not Savage. You have something like Morale Boost, which heals you when you kill a player, which is awesome. You can literally go in and 1v3 and come out with more HP than you started with. Or you can run something like Berserker that gives you more damage for HP you lose. Where's the other one, I think? Carnage, more strength, which is pretty bad. However, the two you're really going to choose between a Berserker or Morale Boost. Both of these are insane, so they have some of the best perks. Then, like I said, you look at their skills, like I mentioned earlier, Reckless Attack, which helps remove the only thing that should deal with them, which is heavy plate armor classes. Warcry, 25% HP for your entire team for 7 seconds, if they're close enough. And once again, that's on top of a giant HP pool already. If you combine this with a Geared Barb that has 200 HP, they're literally getting 50 more HP. They're up to 250 health in the middle of a fight, which is just absolutely insane. For one, that is like absolutely insane. 250 health. And if they have like 50% PDR on top of that, it's just like, how do you deal with that? It's like, what do you do? But then I'm not even gonna say, it's funny enough is what I'm gonna say next is Barbarian isn't even the biggest issue, which is really hard to believe after everything I've just all the information I've just given you. You're like what, like how is Barbarian not the biggest issue? Like you just said, it's like super high damage, impossible to kill. Like how is it not the biggest issue? Well, the reason it's not, and the weakness of Barbarian, because every class in theory should have a weakness. Barbarian's weakness is supposed to be that they're slower and they're easier to kite around, which generally is true. However, when you pair with a wizard and a cleric, that weakness gets eliminated. You have haste, you have invis, which allows you to engage, gives you more movement speed, gives you more action speed, which you don't know what action speed is, pretty much just attack speed. Haste gives you action speed and move speed, lets you get in faster, lets you swing faster, means you kill people faster. You have a cleric who is constantly healing you, so even if you run in and you just have 17 million health bars that are impossible to get through, and it's like, okay, so then what's the problem? Well, there's a bunch of problems. I'm not gonna lie. It's not just one thing. Barbarian isn't the biggest problem. He is a problem. Warmaul is a problem. His base stats are a problem. However, Cleric is the main issue with this. Cleric has dodge nerfs patch after patch after patch. I don't understand it. No one understands it. I'm sorry. No one understands it. But Cleric has been dodging nerfs left and right, front and center. They've been the best character in the game. There was one time when Cleric wasn't the most OP character in the game. One time. And that was when Den of Darkness Bard was in the meta. And if you don't know what Den of Darkness was, first of all, be happy. But basically, the Bard spell, or the Bard's song, Den of Darkness, which is their constant AoE damage they can use on the drum. The magic damage was fully applying to each tick. So they would basically insta-kill entire teams with very, very little damage, and there was just nothing you could do about it. It was stupid. So broken. Like, it was just, you could kill people that you couldn't even see through walls, through elevation, all of that. But it was incredibly broken. And that is the only time Cleric has not been the best character in the meta. And even then, Cleric was good because Sanctuary was like the one thing that could deal with it, because you could try to like match the damage they were doing with your healing. However, Bard was the best character then, and every other time outside of that, even back during the playtest, and even now in early access, Cleric has been the best character. And you can be like, oh, what's the only healer? Of course it's going to be really good. Yeah, that's true. However, the amount they heal is absolutely ridiculous. Like, let's just go look at their numbers really quick, shall we? Because I need you guys to understand something about this. So we have Lesser Heal and we have Holy Light. Heal and target for 15 health, cast on self with no target found. Heal an ally for 30 HP, or does, we don't care about the second part. So this says it heals for 15 and this heals for 30. You're like, okay, that's not a lot. This only has 4 charges, this only has 4 charges. That's not a lot of healing. However, you then add in scaling. I've seen Holy Lights heal for 83. 83. It is healing for nearly triple of the base amounts of what it says here. and you have 4 charges of that. You have 4 charges of an 83 heal. You are healing for literally over 300 health. Like, I just let that sink in. Over one of your spells can heal over 300 health. And then we half that. Look at this right here, 15. You know, if this could get up to 83, you know, like if this is getting up to 83, if this is almost, this right here is almost tripled. This could heal for around 40. Like, this is pretty much insta-cast that you can cast on yourself or your teammate. This can heal for 40. So you have 300 here. You have like 160 here. Like, you have almost 500 HP heal in 2 of your spells. Let's ignore everything else. Just these 2 spells here, when you're really geared, can do almost 500 healing. And see, the counterplay to Cleric is supposed to be, you know, try to bait out their spells, run their heals out, then you can fight. Well, you know, that should be the case. However, clarity potions, they can just drink them. And as they're drinking them in the middle of fights, their spells are regenning. So I use a lesser heal, I drink a clarity potion, my lesser heal comes back. That's like I never used it. I'm using holy lights, I'm drinking clarity potions, they're coming back. One of the biggest problems is earthquake. And it's funny, like, these heals are really, really strong, and don't get me wrong, these things are insane. However, earthquake is a problem too, but earthquake's not even used in Buffball, but this is still a problem. So what this does is it makes a giant AoE that you have the choice of, if I'm stuck in it, I move and I take a lot of damage, or I don't move and I'm basically rooted for like 6 seconds. I don't even know how long it lasts. I think it's like 6 seconds or 8 seconds or something. Or I'm basically rooted for 8 seconds and they can just hit me and do whatever they want for like a ranger or something. However, because weapon damage was nerfed, rangers aren't as good with this anymore. This is mostly about last patch. It's still pretty strong and it's still really annoying to push into, especially if they have like a wizard, because then you can get like magic missile, fireball, lightning strike, etc., etc. So it's still an issue. But the thing is, you have 2 charges of this, right? You have 2 charges. Heal number 2, you have 2 charges of this. So we have the issue of, let's say they use 1. They drink clarities, and they can sit there and they can charge the second one, and while they're holding it, their first one is regenning. So you can basically always have earthquake charges. And this is the same issue with things like the heals. So the play of, oh, I'm going to bait out all their spells doesn't work, because they can just regen them constantly. So then you have a character that is basically great at everything. Because keep in mind that this is only one issue with Cleric. You also have things like Smite Cleric, which is a really, really strong frontline, which is a completely different build that is also incredibly strong. So it's like you have frontline Cleric that's really, really strong. You have support healing Cleric that's really, really strong. You have utility zoning, really, really strong. You can revive. Where is it at? Where's the res at? Do I have it? You can revive people. You can use Holy Strike. And Holy Strike is insane. They buffed this spell at the beginning of early access, and I have no idea why. But this spell is absolutely crazy. It is basically an unmissable AoE of damage and CC that you have 4 charges of. Like, that is just, I don't know who was cooking with this one, but we gotta get him out the kitchen. Because this shit ain't balanced. None of this shit's balanced. But this is one of the problems with Buffball, and one of the major problems is because you have all of this healing. Like, we don't even, like, these spells don't even matter. And no one even cares about any of these spells. Res, like, maybe Res. Res because if they die, because they're really stupid. But just these 2 spells alone, you are giving the Barbarian nearly 500 HP more to run in and int as much as he damn well pleases. And the thing is, because damage is lowered, it takes longer to kill people. However, healing wasn't nerfed at all. So anytime damage is lowered, but healing isn't, it automatically makes that healing better, because the longer it takes to kill someone, which means that is a bigger window you have to heal them, and and your healing gets much more effective. Because, for example, if I did 80 damage in 1 second, then healing, and then now I do 80 damage in 3 seconds, you know, and I can heal 80, I can heal that 80 damage. That is, it takes fucking 2 seconds longer to kill them per heal I'm throwing out, right? Like, it takes so much longer to chew through health bars, and then whenever you finally do, they just get healed right back up. So it's like, you know, like, what the fuck? Like, what do I do now? It's like, what the fuck do I do now? And the funniest thing is the way this comp is really OP is because we've talked about two of the biggest issues, and we haven't even mentioned Wizard. Like I mean, I guess technically we do with Haste Invis, but like that wasn't really, that wasn't really something. We haven't even mentioned Wizard yet, which is arguably one of the strongest classes in the game. They still have insane amounts of damage. Chain Lightning's still ridiculous. Fireball still one shots. You still have hit scan zaps that do for like 50 damage. They still have insane amounts of damage. However, they're not even like the major issue in the comp. Like, they're an issue, but they're not a major issue. It used to be Wizards were pretty much vital in the comp because they dealt with fighters, which is what Barbarians struggled with. Barbarians don't need that anymore. They deal with fighters plenty on their own. They have Warmaw. They have 20% armor pen on every swing. So it's like, what does it matter? Like that, like the Wizard doesn't need to do anything. The Wizard just haste. Hey, they don't need to invis the Barbarian. Let's haste him and let the Barbarian run in. And then like, oh, good job, you did it. Your Barbarian just killed everybody. Like, and he couldn't die. Like, you didn't even do anything. You could literally hit that G key and just chill while your Barbarian 1v3s. However, this video is not just going to be bitching about how OP it is. I actually want to propose some solutions. Even though I know it's not going to do anything, it makes me feel better. And I like to rant, so it makes me feel good. One thing that needs to happen, just flat out, remove the armor pen from Warmaw. I don't care that it used to have no pin and it was bad. Remove the armor pen from it. We've already lowered armor rating enough that I don't think armor pins is needed anymore. But the problem with adding armor pen to this and how much they added was it basically nullified the only counter Barbarian had, which was Fighter. Because I've made a video on it before and I've talked about it a lot before. But this game works on a rock, paper, scissors basis where each class has its own counter. And like, this counters that counters this, that type of thing. However, they basically gave Barbarian a way to beat its best counter to the point where it becomes a counter for what it used to count. For what used to counter it now counters. Like, Fighter used to beat Barbarian. Now with Warmaw, Barbarian beats Fighter. So, it's like, why? Like, armor rating's been nerfed enough that we don't even need this anymore. Fighters aren't hitting 90% physical damage reduction anymore. We don't need 20% armor pin. We're hitting 70% at, like, the highest end. And, like, that's with shield out. So it's like, you don't need 20% pen anymore. Remove the pin and make them actually have to play the game. Even without the 20% armor pen, Barbarians still hit pretty damn hard. Like you still hit pretty damn hard without 20% armor pen. Not to mention, you still have Reckless, which gives you armor pen on that, so you can pretty much one-shot someone. But make them have to actually play the game, right? Like, make them actually have to think about what they're doing. Don't just let them W key in and swing and obliterate everything in their face, because nothing can stand to a Warmaw. Also, something else that needs to be mentioned is, I don't actually have one here, but Warmaw has one of the high, I think actually no, it is the highest base damage weapon in the game. Like a purple, like the green Warmaw is 53, but if we go to Barb chat, maybe I can see one post really quick, see if I can, oh, I'm talking about it. But Warmaws roll so high of damage. Like a purple rolls up to 62 base damage. Legendary rolls 65. Unique rolls 68. That is a, like, because purple is generally what most people are going to have. That is a 62 base damage weapon. They've pretty much lowered the damage of, look at this, 60 base damage on this thing. They've pretty much lowered the damage of everything else except Warmaw. Like, 62 weapon damage, 20% pin. Even without the pin, this still does insane damage. Like, I had a purple Warmaw on with 62 damage, no damage gear on, no weapon damage, nothing. I was headshotting for 165 with the Warmaw with 0 damage built, literally 0. And it's just like, why? I'm body shotting for like 115 or something ridiculous. It's like, why am I allowed to do that much damage when I have literally no damage built? Which brings me to another issue that this comp has. Strength. Barbarian has pretty damn good starting stats. They have 30 strength, 11 agi, 19 will. Then knowledge, which is the most useless stat for a melee, they have 6 of. Resourcefulness, which doesn't really matter, they have 10 of. So their two most useless stats, they have very low amounts. Will is actually a nice stat to have because it gives you MR. Thing is, and their Agi's 11, which is pretty low. However, compare these to like Fighter, which is the other prevalent frontline class's stats. Fighter starts with 15 strength, which is 15 less than Barbarians. Fighter starts with half the strength of a Barbarian. However, they only start with 15 agility. So they are losing 4 agility for 15 strength. And the reason this is so insane is because this makes it so you can afford to stack Agi a lot easier because you don't need as much strength because your starting strength is so damn high. Like, if Fighter had 30 strength and could stack Agi as freely, it'd be great because then you could afford to stack a lot of their stats. That's one of the best parts about Barbarian is because your base stats are so good, you can use so much gear and your gear requirements are much lower because you don't have to hit, you don't have to have insane gear to hit certain thresholds. Like, you can literally just put on a Viking helmet, which I don't have, which is for some reason the best helmet in the entire game. Let's see if there's one of my armor really quick. Where's my armor at? Like, I don't know who decided to give this helmet agility, but this is the best helmet in the game, hands down. Like, it has really high armor. It's got good headshot damage reduction. It's got okay move speed penalty. Minus 10's pretty high. But then it has Agi. You compare this to the Chappelle. Look at the difference. Like, sure, there's a 1% move speed difference. 3 move speed, which is 1%. However, it has 12 less armor, 2% less headshot damage reduction, 1% less projectile reduction. And it's, I mean, this has MR, but no one cares about that. But you are literally trading like 2 to 3% physical damage reduction for 3% or for 1% move speed, and like that's all. And the other stats are better on Viking Helm. So this helmet just gives free agility, while also being the best helmet. You have no trade-off. You already would wear this because it was already the best helmet. However, now you also get agility for it. So all the gear, full Northern Tunic, another really good piece of gear. Armor rating MR, Regal Gambison, armor rating MR, padded tunic, free strength. Then you look at like other pieces, riveted gloves, they love wearing. Heavy leather legs, they love wearing. Like, so basically, Barbarians they can wear the best gear in the game. They can wear some of the best gear in the game. Viking helmet's the best helmets. They can wear some of the best gear in the game. They have incredibly high base stats that are perfect for everything they want to do. They have access to the best weapon in the game in Warmaul. They have some of the best perks in the game, and they have some of the best skills in the game. And then their one weakness, which is low mobility and slow move speed, gets made up for by their team comp. So what results is an unkillable ball of destruction that rolls over everything and makes people hate the game and not want to play against it. Because if you don't play it, you lose to it. And if you play it, you hate yourself because it's not fun to play. So then we have the issue of, like I said, how do we fix it? One, they need their best. So okay, there are 2 solutions to their stats. One, we add Constitution in as a stat, or like you said, Vigor, or Vitality, or Endurance, or whatever the hell you want to call it. We add a separate stat in that is just HP, and maybe even Resistances. I'm not too sold on that. But split Strength into 2 stats. One for tankiness, one for damage. That way, they don't get a ton of free damage for stacking HP. Like, that's one of the biggest problems with Barbarian, is they get so much damage while also getting a ton of defensive stats, because strength gives both. Strength gives the best of both worlds. So that is a solution. Either you split the stats and then you split their the amount of strength between those two, or you just lower their overall base strength. Like, you just lower it, because starting with 30 is insane. Or lower their agility. Lower something. Something needs to be done about their base stats, because it's way too dumb. It's just so damn dumb. But yeah, so you need to remove the pen on Warmaul. Completely. Just fucking get rid of it. Don't lower it. Get rid of that shit. If it sucks, then I don't care. They can change something else. Maybe buff some of the shitty weapons that no one uses, like Battle Axe or Double Axe. Make them have more viable weapons. Hell, they have more viable weapons than most classes. Right now, they have Warmaul, Viking Sword, and Quarterstaff as viable weapons. Most classes don't have the luxury of using 3 weapons. Most classes use 1 weapon, maybe 2, if you're lucky. But most only use 1, because that's your only viable option. But yeah, so remove the pen on Warmaul, change their base stats, and honestly, hell, you can nerf some of the gear. Viking helmet needs to be nerfed. But those are like the main issues with Barbarian right now that would that needs to be fixed. And then we move on to Cleric, the things that need to be done to Cleric. Oh boy, where can I start? So well, obviously it starts with their spells. They need to nerf the scaling on these spells, motherfucking ASAP. These gotta go. Ain't no way a holy light should be healing for almost triple the base value of it. How do we have up to 200% scaling on something? Like, how is it, or not even like not 200% scaling, how is it scaling so hard that it's healing for 200% more than what it should be, right? Like, how does that even, how does that even happen? I don't understand it. How is that allowed? So we need to nerf the amount they heal for. I don't know if that means nerfing scaling. Honestly, yeah, nerf to scaling. Nerf to scaling, nerf the base amount. I don't care how you do it. Just do it. Then, nerf Holy Strike. This does way too much damage to also have CC, to have insane range and instacast. This used to not be as bad because it was really close range, so if you want to Holy Strike someone, you had to risk them running into melee and hitting you and your book out, which is scary. But now, you can Holy Strike somebody 2 to 3 times before they ever get in range because of how far away this shit goes. It goes so far. So nerf Holy Strike's range, or its damage, or its CC, or all three. I'd be okay with that. Earthquake. Reduce the duration of it. Earthquake should not CC you for so long. Or if you want to keep the duration on it, that's fine. Make it one charge. Make it, because the thing is, making it one charge is really big, because then if you use it, you can't have one regening while you're holding this. Only one charge Earthquake means if you use yours, that is a big window it's down that you have to get it back. That gives a lot of chance to push, and actually makes it feel impactful to use spells. And then this is gonna be, I don't know if it's honestly even like a hot take or not, but Clarity Potions should be removed from the game. I don't care how much Wizard players cry about wah, 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 it sucks to PvE, boo-hoo, or, oh, I have to meditate. I don't care. I really, really don't. Clarity Potions go against everything IRONMACE says they want for this game. They say they want a slow-paced game. Clarity Potions directly go against that. Literally exactly what they do is the opposite of what IRONMACE wants. You basically never stop for spells. Like, you could, like, it used to be, oh, I would play 10-spell Wizard if I had a Bard playing Clarity. Now you don't have to. People realize you don't have to. Just drink Clarity Potions. Like, who cares? As long as your wallet's big enough, you never run out of spells. You come in, and now that we have potion stacking back, they can bring even more than before. It used to be the payoff was, oh, well, they'd have half their inventory full of Clarities, so, you know, it sucked, but it is what it is. Now that potion stacking's back, you can bring in fucking 50 Clarity Potions. That shit doesn't take up half your inventory. Which, I mean, you know, it would suck if they did, but hell, some people are. Like, I mean, why not? So the thing is, you literally never have to stop for spells. You just drink Clarity Potions 24/7 as you're running around. Your spells are always regenning, so you're never, like, low on them. So baiting spells out in a fight isn't even, like, a good play. It's like the one weakness of spellcasters is supposed to be you have limited spell uses, not including Warlock. It's supposed to be you have a limited spell uses. You have to manage your resource appropriately, just like any other class does. However, that's not the case. It's like your resource is gold and how well you spend it to buy clarities. It's how many clarities am I going to come in with? Because I'm just going to drink them like crazy. It doesn't even matter because when you kill another cleric, you just get theirs. But clarity potions need to be removed because you should actually have to think about the spells you're using. I shouldn't be able to spam all my lesser heals and be like, whatever, I drink a clarity potion, I'm getting them back, it's fine. I don't have to stop to rest, I don't have to campfire, I don't have to do any of that. I have all my spells back. It's dumb. Hate it. But anyways, honestly, I haven't even talked about Wizard. Talking about Wizards, like, whatever. Like, Wizard needs to be nerfed. Like, honestly, I think for the most part, Wizard isn't even that bad of a spot. I don't even care about Haste Invis. Like, it's annoying, but this is manageable. Haste Invis isn't even the most annoying thing in the game. Most of their spells aren't that awful. The biggest issue with Wizards is Chain Lightning, I think. Chain Lightning and 10 spell. 10 spell should be removed. You shouldn't have 10 spells. That's stupid. Until there are more spells in this game, or, I don't know, some more sort of limitations, they shouldn't have access to 10 spell. I've talked about this before, but look at this. Like, oh, look at me. I'm 10 spell. I only have to choose one spell not to run, and do I even have my perks on? What is this? Sage, Quick Chance, Arcane, where's it at? It's I don't know if I have the other one. But anyways, look at this. I only need 9 knowledge to run all my spells. I only need 9 more spell cap to run all 10 spells. So either you have to lower their base memory amount, or increase the cost of these spells. Because right now, they can basically run 10 spell for free with basically no repercussions. And I don't even hate this because of how it's broken. I hate this because there's basically no drop-off. Normally, it's like, oh, I have to think carefully about what spells I want to run. you know, because I only have a limited amount. Nope, I have to choose one spell I don't run, and it's usually just Ignite, because the spell fucking... unless you're playing Cleric, this shit's useless. Like, oh, so I just run... I run 10 of my 11 spells, and, you know, I don't care. You know, I'm not missing out on anything. Like, no one cares. I just get to run 10 spells. As a default wizard, I'm able to run 7 spells. Literally, I'm in default gear, and I'm able to run 7 of my 10 spells. Like, how does that even make sense? Like, huh? But why? And then this wouldn't even be that much of an issue, except for the fact that most of these are combat spells. So you get in one fight, you have 5 zaps, 5 fireballs, 3 chain lightnings, 5 lightning strikes, 5 ice bolts, 5 magic missiles. Actually, I might have said that. I don't know. And then 5 slows you can use. You have over 30 combat spells you have access to use in a fight. And it's like, what are the... And this comes back to my clarity argument of... The reason this is so stupid is because you could use... Like, let's say I use all my zaps, all my fireballs. I drink clarities, and while these are regenning, I have ice bolts, I have lightning strikes, I have chain lightnings, I have slows, I have magic missiles. I have so many other options I can use while I'm out of one spell. However, if you leave them on 5 spell, look at what you have to choose. Look at how limited you are here, which is a good thing. I want a PvE, I have to run magic missile. I want to be able to buff, I have to run haste invis. Oh, I only have 2 slots left for PvP spells. Well, what do I want to run? Zap's a low-cost spell that I can get back easily. I want to run Zap. I want AoE, I run Fireball. Or I don't want to run Fireball, I run Chain Lightning. So then I'm missing out on something. So you have, like, this entire game, there's so much in this game that gives you the message of, you have a limited amount, you have to choose what you want. You can't have everything you want. That's part of that shit is limited backpack space or limited stash space. They finally give us new stash upgrade options, which is great. Limited backpack space, limited like slots and all that. This whole game is about trade-off. It's what am I willing to take? What am I willing to give up? What am I willing to take? And like what am I willing to sacrifice for what I'm willing to take? However, then you have so many things in this game that just go against that logic. 10 spell wizard, clarity potions, all of that just are, oh, I don't have to give up anything. I get everything I want. Oh, I'm only running, I'm missing out on, I have 11 spells. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I don't have to choose a bunch not to run because I can run 10 of them with literally no downside. The downside to running 10 spells should be, oh, I don't have meditation, so it's hard to get my spells back. No, it's not. I just drink clarity potions. So I have no downside. I never have to rest. I never have to campfire. I just drink clarity potions. But yeah, so there are a lot of issues primarily with these 3 characters right here that needs to be addressed in the meta. Because they are way too broken, and they're way too unfun to play against. And basically, this is all anyone's going to play in HR. And if you run into this, and you're not also playing it, you have to work like 3 or 4 times as hard as they do to try to beat them. And if they're more geared than you, there's usually nothing you can do. Unless they are actual idiots, you will beat them. Or they will beat you 99% of the time. But anyways, I think that sums it up for this video. It's been a long one. So if you guys enjoyed, or think I'm stupid, or have your own opinions, feel free to comment down below. Honestly, I mean, I made this video. It's not like I expect like IRONMACE to watch this video. I'm like, oh wow, he has some really good ideas. We need to do that. I don't expect that shit. I just do it to make myself feel good because I like talking. And if I just did this without recording, I'd just be crazy. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. Feel free to comment down below your own opinions on it. If you agree, disagree, whatever it may be. And if you enjoyed, feel free to like and subscribe. If not, it's fine. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.